The oranges and the wild plays.
Wilds is trying a new coffee thing today, and he's a little under the weather, and I think he's a little rattled.
Well, just kind of stall out.
Okay.
I'm like an old car. Sometimes it just a stoplight and just doesn't start. Stephen Jones of the Cowboys have reportedly offered Dak a contract, and then nothing happened. Here's Stephen Jones.
I wish we had control of that. So, right now the ball's in his court, and we're waiting to hear from them, and they understand that the ball's in their court. But anyway, I do hope Dak has a great birthday today, and I'm sure at some point here Dak can call it an elated celebration or whatever he wants to call it, but we want to continue to work hard to get his contract done.
Okay. Is Dak better off leaving Dallas, even though it seems like Stephen Jones wants to sign him?
Well, Stephen Jones wants to sign him, but clearly not at the price Dak thinks he's worth. And I think the Cowboys are misinformed if they think they have earned some type of discount. They haven't. If it's like, oh, Dak, do you want to win? Well, if you do, there's a dozen franchises that win more regularly than Dallas. There's literally 27 who have been to a conference championship game more recently than the Dallas Cowboys.
Part of that's Dak's fault.
Yeah, big part.
Well, certainly not the 15 years before his career started when they didn't make conference championship games. None of that's his fault.
No, he gets a pass on
it. Since he's been
not in the second year there.
No, I understand that. The point I'm trying to make is I don't know why the Cowboys think they're going to get Dak on a bargain. They haven't earned it. They haven't shown that, well, take less because you can win here. Why? They don't win there. Bruce says ad nauseum, and I know you agree, that the Cowboys have things about their ownership and the way they are run that are singular impediments to winning, unlike any other team in the league. So why would Dak be like, yes, sign me up for the last part of my prime there, when he is going to be the most sought-after true free agent in NFL history in 1 year?
Because he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, again, while that is very good for post-career employment, it has not been good at all for winning since Troy was there. It hasn't in 30 years.
How did you just describe it? The single most free agent in history?
There has never been, in the salary cap era, a quarterback in his prime at Dak's age hit free agency. As far as a guy.
Lamar?
What? Lamar did not hit free agency, ever.
They could have traded.
Lamar was franchise tag.
He did let him go out and see if he could.
Well,
find
theoretically,
Right.
but no one could sign Lamar without giving up 2 first-round picks. Anyone can sign Dak in 1 year for nothing as far as draft compensation.
What about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I don't think Kirk Cousins was this caliber of player when he was leaving Washington.
Maybe coming out.
I don't think he was. And I think that was.
He did sign a $100 million contract.
Yeah, and Dak is going to sign a $250 million contract or more. Dak is going to get $65 million a year in free agency. And if the Cowboys are trying to get him to take less, that's fine. He's not going to do it. That's just what's going to happen.
I used to think that Dak Prescott was fortunate and should count his blessings that he's the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, because he wouldn't be as famous. He wouldn't be the celebrity that he is if he were not the Cowboys. He's a very good quarterback, but he wouldn't be. He's viewed as a celebrity because he's the Cowboys quarterback. I've moved off that, though. And I think just like if this season the Cowboys are looking at Dak like it's a prove-it year. Let's see what you can do. He should be looking at them the exact same way. It's a prove-it year, because I actually coach. Now, if let's say this season ends like the rest of them, where they go out in the second round of the playoffs or whatever. If there are good situations out there where they can pay Dak and want to pay Dak, Pittsburgh, if it doesn't work out with any of their 2 quarterbacks, or the Giants, if they were to bring in like Belichick or Vrabel with Dak, I think Dak would benefit by going to a football franchise, not a production company that plays football. Like where it's football first, second, or third. I think he would benefit from that and not have the circus around him and maybe be able to win a Super Bowl.
I don't think there's a strong history of quarterbacks changing teams and working out great. Now, there are some really good examples. I'd say the best example to me is Matthew Stafford. That was the best comp I could think of, although I think Stafford was better than, well, really Stafford, because he was with Detroit, multiple coaches, multiple GMs, couldn't quite win, really good quarterback, then gets the opportunity, does, and wins. Steve Young changed teams. There's other guys that have gone online that I think were better than Dak is, but there's no guarantee that you change a team and the situation is that much better. And when you're talking about paying a guy a premium, yeah, you're going to pay him what the market is, but you also want to know that he can win in big games. And he hasn't shown that, so I think that's going to hurt him, just like it's hurting him in Dallas.
Okay, I will bet any amount of money you would like against $1.
We'll never know what that bet was because it's cut off, so I apologize. So, okay. Listen. This is an interesting question. Because if Dak is now saying that he wants more than what Jordan Love just got and Trevor Lawrence, right? And Tua, because he's saying, I'm worth more. Give me the $65 million contract now. I honestly think that's insane. And I would say, goodbye, Dak. We are not doing that. When we pay you that amount of money, not only do you limit us tremendously, but you have not proven to us that you are the true difference maker come time playoffs. When you get paid that amount of money as a quarterback, when you just get paid the top of the market, okay? So right now it's what, 55 million, 53, I think, whatever the final number ends up coming out to be. You're getting paid that amount of money because you've either already shown and proved to be a difference maker, right? Let's just use Joe Burrow as an example because he got paid after he'd already gone to the Super Bowl, if memory serves me correctly. Even like a Jalen Hurts, who I know a lot of people aren't high on him, so don't get too lost in that. But he showed to be the difference maker, to be able to ball out in a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow to be able to ball out, beat Patrick Mahomes, get to a Super Bowl, be very close to winning a Super Bowl, right? Clearly proving to not be the reason why the team didn't make it there, right? A massive reason why they did. You're getting paid because you either have shown that you've already done that and will continue to be able to do that, or in the case of, say, Jordan Love right now, it's because we believe you have the ability to do that. Based off of what we've seen you do, whether it be the regular season, even playoffs, we believe you, hey, Jordan Love, we believe you will be able to do this. Under the right circumstances and given the opportunity, you will be able to win us those difficult games in the playoffs or execute the game plan flawlessly so then we can now go win the Super Bowl. That's why we're going to pay you this amount of money. But now when you have someone like Dak Prescott, who has quite frankly, right or wrong, has shown to not be able to do that. He has consistently shown to be a good to sometimes great quarterback. Have great moments, tiny bit moments of elite moments, but very fleeting. But for the most part, he just is a good quarterback. And consistently, he's had a lot of opportunities in the playoffs. People want to call out and say, the last playoffs game was not his fault, that the defense was so bad. But he did nothing to keep them in the game. Nothing to keep them in the game. Let me say it one more time. Nothing to keep them in the game. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, even if their defenses collapse, they still do everything they can to keep them within range. They might not win every single time, but they at least still kind of tread that water. That's not what Dak was able to do. He crumbled along with everyone else. That's not someone that's worth $65 million a year. And it's not just because, well, that's what quarterbacks are being paid right now. No. You could make the argument that you should still pay Dak a $55 million contract, right? Something that's like that of Jordan Love. I'm okay with that argument personally. I don't love it. I would like him to take even less, but I understand it, right? I do understand it. And you are paying Dak for not just what he can do on the field, but also just the type of leader he is and the type of person, which is saying something. It is. Because I do think he's a great leader and someone who you want to represent your franchise. But he's not a difference maker where he now deserves an extra $5-10 million on top. The dude's trying to make more than $20 million more than Patrick Mahomes. Do you know how insane that is? That's insanity. That's literal, utter insanity. Like I always say, You can't get paid more than Patrick Mahomes, not be as good as Patrick Mahomes, and expect to win like Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't work that way. So if Dak is really dead set on this like $65 million contract, I say goodbye and good luck, man. I say it's a bummer. I know things are going to be rough for a little bit, but I'm just not doing this because I know what I get when I pay you $65 million. I'm not going to be able to afford some of these other pieces, and you're not good enough to get us over the hump. You're just not. Just not going to happen. And so it's just like, why would I pay that then? It just doesn't make sense to me. He is consistently good, not consistently great. And there's a difference. There's really a difference. Patrick Mahomes is consistently elite with his floor being great. That's why you're someone like a Patrick Mahomes. And it's just like, you know, when he's saying that these other franchises will pay him all that money, I don't 100% doubt it. But when you start to name these franchises, it's desperate franchises. Like he mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, they're desperate to get something going. They're desperate for a quarterback. And quite frankly, if you give Dak Prescott $65 million a year and put him in Pittsburgh, I'm not so sure how that team's magically going to get past Patrick Mahomes and the Houston Texans with CJ Stroud and Josh. Like, I'm not so sure. You'll be better. I think Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. No doubt about that. But when push comes to shove, it seems like outside of having another elite coach on Dak's side, specifically offensively, it seems like great coaches can outcoach Dak, can really scheme against Dak in the playoffs rather consistently. We've seen it with the 49ers. We've seen it with the Packers. You know, we see it with these better teams that they can consistently come up with the game plan when it really matters most in the playoffs and just out-game plan Dak. And unless he has another elite offensive coordinator to kind of navigate that around, or an offensive head coach for that matter, it's just not going to happen. And so I don't know how many teams really have that. There's really only a handful of them. So maybe if AR is a disaster, right? Maybe he gets injured again for the Colts. You could say, well, hey, what would Dak look like with Shane Steichen? It's like, that's an interesting question to me. Because I don't think, unless maybe Stafford goes down again, but I think they're on the books with Stafford for at least a couple years or so. So I don't think he's going to be able to go there. Maybe why can't I think of the name? The Browns. I don't know what that contract looks like at this point, because at this point it was a few years ago with Deshaun Watson and stuff like that. I don't know if they would be able to afford to kind of bring on Dak now. I think it would be interesting to see him with Stefanski, but I still think that there would be a lot of struggles there. I think in order to really win with Dak needs, this is really how I think I really kind of fully believe on this, and then I'll just end it there, is that at the end of the day, Dak needs to have either a truly stacked team to win, and he would, in order to have that, he would need to not take $65 million, or he needs to have a truly elite top level coach. And there's only so many of those in the league right now, right? Offensively. And that would be, of course, Andy Reid, McVay, Shanahan. I think Steichen is in that waiting room about to enter. And I'm probably missing a couple others. I know I am, so don't think that that's a dead set list. But again, those quarterbacks are all, any of these other situations, those teams don't have it. He said the Giants, right? That's the other team that he said. Daboll probably can be an elite offensive mind. I think he can do great things. He hasn't been really given the opportunity just yet. But I'm just not seeing how the Giants can put together a team in time to link up with Dak's prime, keep Daboll, and build that. I'm not seeing how that can all come together, because Dak is a little bit older. If Dak was like three years younger, so then you can make the argument, okay, you got to give it a minute to kind of bake, and we can kind of build this team. We kind of have to kind of start over again. I'm not so sure that's where the Giants would be. And the Steelers seem to have this team kind of maybe ready to go. They just need a quarterback. But I'm not seeing how Dak is going to be able to take that next level. Dak cannot say, I know the offense, I got this, I'm going to put this team on my back come time playoffs. No. He needs an unbelievable game plan and cannot be susceptible to being, out-coached and out-schemed from the defensive side of the ball on the other team, because that's what consistently happens. And so you need a really great situation there. So I'm just not seeing it happening. I just don't. And so at that point, I'm like, stay with Dallas. Like, I don't know, stay with Dallas. And I do get also what Nick Wright is saying in terms of, like, to a degree that, like, Dallas hasn't earned that. But at the same time, there's some truth to that, but also not, because he's also had great teams and great weapons. Right? Like, I've said this before, they're top 3. Dallas Cowboys are top 3 in most Pro Bowlers and most All-Pro players for the last, like, I forget the exact number, but 3 or 5 years or whatever, however many years it was. But for a chunk of Dak's career, he's top 3 in most Pro Bowlers and All-Pro players. So it's like, what, it's like, so there we go. You can make the argument that he hasn't given him a good enough coach. I am definitely open to that argument, for sure. And if I was Dak, I would then go to the Joneses and say, what is going on with the coach? I will take this deal. Tell me who you're getting as a head coach. Are you going out to get Ben Johnson? Like what are we doing here? Are you just going to extend McCarthy? And if you move on from McCarthy, are you going to get some other random coach that nobody ever saw coming? Like, what is the actual plan here? Then I would be more willing to do that. If you could get the next Shane Steichen, the next Shanahan, then I would be more willing to take that cut. But if you're just going to kind of roll it back with the McCarthy again, then I could understand that, yes, you do not earn that right for me to take that pay cut, because I don't see how it's going to improve anything. We're just going to be the same team whether you pay me $65 million or $55 million, and at that point, just give me that extra 10. This will be the very last thing. I know I keep saying this, but I just thought of this. The taxes in Texas are so different. So if he now takes $65 million in New York versus $55 million in Texas, I think it's either you're going to win out if you're in Texas, or it's going to be pretty much like peanuts. It's going to be like nothing. So it's not even going to be that big of a deal, honestly. So it just kind of, no matter how you slice it, it's kind of bad business. So it'll be interesting. I'm really curious to see if he's really trying to prioritize winning or what. Clearly it's not. Maybe he does want to win, but he doesn't trust Dallas. And if you don't trust Dallas, then why are you even going to re-sign with them no matter what they pay you? Just kind of gets messier. The more I think about it, the more I'm just like, it's just kind of hard to figure out where the logic is coming and what the intention is. So I don't know. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Dak is better off leaving Dallas? Do you think he should stay with Dallas? Do you think he should take a cut? Do you think he should try to get to 65? I mean, obviously there's plenty of options. So would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so that you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.